start stretching. Let's start with our feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. So they're not straight underneath our hips, but they're not out super far wide. Probably about like 2 feet. Let's just start rocking side to side, shifting our weight. Moving through the foot. Let's start to sway the body from side to side, starting to incorporate the side of the body. Add some arms. Let the head follow the body. So always the last thing to arrive is the head. Keep swaying side to side. Let's move our shoulders inward a little bit, rolling them forward. Continue shifting side to side. Now let's take them back. Doesn't matter how this looks, it might feel a little awkward, but we want to like wake up all the little nooks and crannies, all the joints in our body. Move those arms a little bit more freely, lifting up through the shoulder. Activate that lower belly to support the low back. Moving through the neck. Look upwards, look sideways. Rocking through the body. And start to slow down and find stillness. Go back to your sways, shifting right and left. And find center. Let's bring our right ear to our right shoulder. Bring the head up and over to the other side, left ear to the left shoulder. Up and over to the right. Up and over to the left. Let's bring the chin into our chest. Let's clasp our hands and place them behind our head, like right at the base of the skull, right at the nape of the neck, and gently turn your head right and left. You're not pulling or tugging anything. You're using the natural weight of the arms to increase the stretch of the neck. If you find a good spot, turn there and hold. Nice and smooth. Find center, make sure the chin is directly inside of the chest. Let's open up the elbows as we push our head into the palm of our hands, lifting up as if we were sunbathing for a moment. Feel a stretch in the front of the arms, maybe in the backs of the shoulders. Let's lean to the right, not all the way, just little baby leans. Lean over to the left, lean over to the right, lean over to the left. Let's bend our knees, nothing crazy, just a natural bend in the knees. Let's twist our body over to the right, thinking of belly button up. Twist back to center, twist over to the left, belly button up. The bottom part of my body is staying completely straight. Come back to center. If I had eyeballs on my hip bones, they'd be looking straight at the camera. And twist over to the right. Stay here over to the right. Bring your elbows in against your head and pull the chin into the chest, curving the top of the spine. And when I say pull, I don't mean anything aggressive. Just gently pull in, curving through the spine. Again, let's turn our head right and left, very gently. Feeling any stretch, if you find a good spot, hang out and hold here. Breathe. A few more movements here on your own timing, your own pace. Find center, chin is tucked into the chest. Let's open up the arms, we're still twisted over to the right. Let's increase our stretch back, so try to arch open even more. Breathe. And bring the body up to center and twist back to center. Let's go to the other side, over to the left. Bring the elbows in against the head. Gently curl the chin into the chest, rounding through the upper spine. Hang out here. My lower belly is still really working. It's pressing back against my low back. It's protecting that low back. Gently turn the head right and left. If you find a good spot, hang out there and breathe into it. few more movements on your own. Find center with the chin into the chest. Let's open up the top body. Lift up, 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 as if you're looking up to the sky. Feel the stretch. Your hands are acting like a hammock for your head. Breathe. Come back to center. Lift the body up nice and tall, straight on its axis. Axis? Yeah, sure. Turn the body center to face the front. Let's reach our arms up. Bring them back behind you. Let's clasp our hands behind us. We want to keep our fist away from our tailbone. We want to think of stretching out and up. I have very tight shoulders, so I'm very limited. But the idea is we don't want our hands to touch our butt. Press our ears away from our shoulders. So if you have to wiggle a little bit right and left to get that feeling of the shoulder blades sliding down your back, that's okay. Breathe. Breathe. Exhale, release those arms. Give those shoulders a little wiggle. Let's lift our hands up, straighten our legs, look up. Exhale, bend the knees, bring the arms down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. One more. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Let's point our toes at a diagonal. You can widen your stance a little bit more if that makes you feel more stable and grounded. Toes are pointed at a diagonal. Arms reach up. Arms reach down. Let's bring our right hand over to our right hip, lifting up that left arm, shifting the hips over to the left. So shift the hips over to the left and reaching over to the right with that left arm. Feeling one long line through that side body. Lower belly again is pressing into that spine so that it protects that low back. Breathe. If your neck is irritated, you can look down towards your foot. And inhale as the arm reaches up, the hips shift back to center. Let's bring that left hand to the left hip. Right arm reaches up overhead. Shift the hips over to the right as you lean the body over to the left. Again, feeling a nice stretch in that side body. Breathe. Right arm reaches up and over, bringing you center. Let's take a bend in the knees. Again, with this open leg position, we want our knees tracking over our middle toe. So we don't want the knees dropping in and we don't want the booty back. We want to feel nice and grounded. So if you're not all the way down, that's okay. Stay up. You're going to feel a stretch in your inner thighs. Let's shift our weight again from side to side, rocking through the body, feeling the weight of our body. Try straightening one leg and the other leg. How fluid can you make this shift? Waking up those inner thighs, waking up those quads. Good, and find center in a nice bend. Make sure that pelvis is centered, so you want to think of pulling up the front of the pubic bone and dropping the tailbone. So I'll show you from the side. Pulling up the front of the pubic bone and dropping the tailbone. So we're not tucking our pelvis and making no butt, but we're not sticking our booty out. Nice and centered. And reach those arms up, straighten the legs. Exhale, bend the legs, bring the arms down. Inhale, reach up and straighten. Exhale, bend, bring the arms down. Let's lean over to the right as we stretch our right leg. Lean. Exhale, come back to center. Let's lean over to the left as we straighten our left leg. Lean. Exhale, again. Lean over to the right. Come to center, over to the left. Come to center. Bring your hands to your legs. Shift again, side to side, right and left. Pressing open those legs. Feeling nice and strong in the quads. They're supporting you. Let's lift our body up, straighten the legs, reach our arms up, bring the hands down to your legs, drop the chin into the chest, rolling through the spine, one vertebrae at a time, bringing your hands to the floor or as close to the floor as they can go. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Nod the head, yes. Shake the head, no. Shift your hips from right and left. Maybe you hear some pops and cracks. really getting into those hip joints and the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. Find center. If this is too much of a stretch on the backs of your legs, you can take a micro bend. And I mean a micro bend. We're not bending deep here. We're just bending slightly to take pressure off of our joints. My toes are still at a diagonal. If you feel more stable and comfortable, you are more than welcome to make your toes point directly front. If you want to take a wider stance, go for it. So hanging out here, let's interlock our elbows. So grab each elbow and let's sway from side to side. Easy sways. Let gravity and momentum do the work. Breathing. This one's a little intense because it's really waking up the back of the legs. Find center. Bring the hands down to the ground, or if they can't reach the ground, you can use yoga blocks to bring the floor closer to you. Inhale, let's lift our gaze about 3 feet in front of us. We're trying to make a nice flat back here. So we're looking forward, flat back. Exhale, curl down. Again, inhale, reaching forward, looking forward on your fingertips, flat back. Stay here and play with shifting your weight forward and back. We're not putting weight in our hands. We're just playing with, if we're more forward on the ball of our foot, how does that affect the stretch? If we're on our heels, how does that affect the stretch? Rocking forward and back. And find center and lower the body down. One more time, flat back. Exhale, lower the body down. Nod the head, yes. Shake the head, no. Let's go ahead and bend into that right leg. So again, we're waking up the inner leg. And shift right on over to the left. So we already did this with our body standing up. Now we're doing it with our body hanging heavy forward. Switching over to the right. Switch over to the left. Over to the right. Really use that glute to help shift you over. Activate the booty, moves you over. Couple more times, right and left. Last round, right and left. Straighten both legs. Pivot your toes to the right side of the room. Pivot all the way. So now we're in a nice triangle pose here. Definitely feel the stretch now. Try to put the weight in your hands. If you cannot, you can use yoga blocks as assistance. Any type of props to bring the floor closer to you. So take a moment and grab these, pause this. So hands are here. We're gonna slide our back leg. So we're shifting our weight on the front leg so we can slide that back leg down to the floor. I'm on the top of my knee, so I'm not like this, standing on my knee. I'm at the bottom of my quad, if you will. Yeah, try to visualize that. The bottom of my quad, right above my kneecap. My front leg, notice, I'm in a right angle position. So I'm not like this. This is bad. We want right angle here. Hang out here. We're feeling a stretch in the front of our quad. Breathe. Now we're going to shift our hips back over that left leg. Shift, shift, shift. And naturally, my front leg wants to straighten. So we're going to straighten that guy out, pointing the toes up to the ceiling. Think of pulling back that right hip. So it feels kind of forward now. Pull it back into your hip joint. There you go. You feel that stretch? Yeah. Breathe. Lower the body as low as you can. Good. And shifting back over to that right foot. Maybe your stretch is a little bit more increased here. That's a good thing. And now the fun part, getting up. So we're going to try to pop that back leg up. I'm going to tuck my back toes. I'm going to lift that back knee. My core is working now. And I'm going to pop that back leg in just enough so I'm in this triangle pose again. Catch your breath, find your balance. Rotate the toes back to the center, back to the front. Nod the head yes, shake the head no. Clasp your elbows, rock left and right. And walk those hands over to the left foot. Turn both toes to face the left side of the room, finding that nice triangle pose. Both toes facing the left of the room. Shift your weight to the front foot so you're in your hands and your foot or your fingertips and your foot, just enough to slide that back leg back behind you, lowering the knee down to the floor. Check in with your legs. My left knee is stacked over my left ankle. I'm not over the toes. Bad, bad, bad for the knees. Breathe here. It really does help when you pull in that lower belly. It kind of like thinks of lifting you up. Breathing into that right quad, hip flexors, all the good stuff. Now I'm going to shift my hips back over top of my back knee. Nice and easy shifting. We've been shifting this entire time. The goal of this stretch is shifting. And my left foot naturally wants to straighten. So go ahead and straighten that guy out. Point the toes up to the ceiling. Hang out here. When you find your balance, think of plugging back that left leg. Plug it back. So it'll slide back just slightly. And now it's a real stretch. Breathe. If this is rough on your knees, you can always use a blanket underneath, just fold it. If you're on a yoga mat, you can fold the side of it up and over so you have a double layer. And then when you shift forward, you unfold it. Shift your weight back to that front leg. If you have to wiggle your foot back a little so your knee is stacked, go for it, but you should feel a little bit of an increase in the stretch here. Good job. Fun part, tuck the toes, lower belly, lifts that back knee off the floor, shift your weight forward, pop that back foot in, find that triangle pose, breathe, catch your breath, find your balance. Rotate the toes to the front of the room, and bend the knees nice and deep. So like you're squatting in the woods, and straighten the legs. And bend the legs nice and deep, and straighten. Last time, bend and straighten. Take a micro bend in the knees, squeeze the glutes, lower belly pulls in against the spine, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Last thing to arrive is the head. Roll those shoulders back, straighten those legs, shift again from side to side, get the body involved, get the arms involved, get the head involved. Notice how more fluid and free this feels compared to the first time. And find center, find stillness. All set.